Welcome back to ATL Day Ones. I am Tenitra Batiste. This is Jarvis Davis, and we thank you guys for coming back to see what's good here with Locked On Sports Atlanta. You can check
All
us out
good.
and find out all the good by going to any platform out there where you check out your podcast. We will be there. And if you go to YouTube and you can do a quick search on Locked On Sports Atlanta, you'll find us as well as everybody in our network. So keep liking us, keep subscribing, keep putting those comments in. We appreciate the support and the feedback as always. And we also appreciate when you guys are thinking like we're thinking and scratching your head and wondering, where is this, whatever this is, where's this all going? And that was one of the things that we started talking about last Friday. Where is this NIL thing starting to go? And there were so many layers to it where we said, you know what, we've got to dig back into it today and kind of look at it from another perspective, another angle. So again, you guys can comment, let us know your thoughts as well. But this was interesting, Jarvis, when we were having this conversation or starting the conversation last week and talking about it from the perspective of what certain agendas are for certain coaches and certain programs as it relates to players. And when you look at the situation for Jordan Addison, for example, star wide receiver with Pitt, Biletnikoff award winner, everything in the palm of his hands, offers coming to him left and right for his name, image, and likeness. And he's saying Pitt's not out of the equation, but he can't help but make decisions or considerations for other opportunities, like USC was one that he said, hey, that's probably where I'm going to land. I have a friend there or counterpart there, if you will. So that looks like that was in play. You know, there are SEC schools after him left and right. One school reportedly, if he'd signed with them, SEC East. If he had signed with them,
Which
maybe
one?
would have right. Maybe would have led to $1 million deal. So there are so many things that are in the works for him, and so many people have thoughts about how he should and can manage through that situation. But what I love, which is a very rare comment that you hear, but Taekwon Underwood, one of the coaches with Pitt, basically said, hey, all this rah-rah, all this backlash against this young man, because remember, these are young men. These are essentially kids who are 1 or 2 years removed from high school, trying to navigate these treacherous waters, and so much vitriol is coming against them. He decided to take to Twitter and had some words to say, hey, back off this kid. I wish him well. Basically, of course, we'd love to have him back here as a Panther, but hey, you go with the ups, you go with the downs, you keep it moving, and he essentially has to do what is best for him. But of course, that story in a nutshell is what this whole raging debate is and continues to be, and probably will continue to be until there's some type of governing entity or until everybody puts their cards on the table with real talk, as opposed to some of these smoke and mirrors that we're seeing from other coaches.
And you know, a lot of the smoke and mirrors is the one thing that I continue to read and continue to come across, and it's a lot of times it's the same message, but it's kind of worded differently. And that is that the coaches assume that these guys aren't making informed decisions. And
Right.
I don't think it's a coincidence that Taekwon Underwood comes out and kind of puts it all in perspective, because guess what? He's a former player as well. He
Yes.
actually also played in NFL, so he understands the game. He gets where Jordan Addison is coming from, and he knows that, you know, these are the things that players have to deal with,
Yeah.
and they're going to have to figure out ways to make informed decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the coaches that are getting upset and masking how they really feel
Mm-hmm.
behind, you know, roster management, and
Right.
we
Players
need
being
to have
able
these
to,
windows, and
yeah.
they're so poor players. They just don't know, you know, what the positions are, and they don't understand. I was like, when you got guys like Jordan Addison, now granted, it's not going to be a lot of guys like Jordan Addison going to
Right.
transfer portal. I just don't
Sure.
see that happening. That's
Yeah. No.
why people are getting so upset, and I'm just like, calm down. That's
Yeah.
not going to be
It's
the
not going
case.
to be typical.
So, you know what I'm saying? So when you have a situation like this, obviously, if he makes a decision to go into the transfer portal, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure that he has people in his corner that he leaned on and said, you know what? This might be the best decision for
Yeah.
you, or this might be something that you might need to revisit and say, okay, I know I won a Biletnikoff award here. I know we were
Mm-hmm.
just coming off of the ACC. championship.
Yeah.
However, my offensive coordinator is gone.
It's
My
gone.
position player is gone. You know what I'm saying? So my quarterback is gone.
Yeah.
So if I'm on a track, if I'm ascending to a certain level, right, as a player,
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't I consider? Because Caleb Williams is from the DMV. Both of those guys
Yes.
are from the DMV.
Yes.
Caleb Williams out of USC. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why he's considering, like, of course, yeah. Why wouldn't I consider going out to USC? Why wouldn't I, open things up to be able to talk to different teams in the SEC East? And why wouldn't I take advantage of some money? Like we talked about last week with Zay Flowers. He
Yes.
chose not to go to chase the money. And that's fine.
That's okay.
And Jordan Addison is considering the money. That's one of the
Right.
factors, right? And that's fine as well. So,
Sure is.
but guess what though? The thing that they do have in common is that they have taken the time out and thought about this thing, right? And said, and they've taken all the factors into play that has to do with them. And they said, you know what? This is a decision I'm going to have to make, and I'm going to make it that it is best for myself and my family. And I don't have a problem with that. And then but you have all these people, all these folks, the people that follow high school recruiting a little bit too closely, those people, the people that are borderline stalkerish when it comes to all of these 18-year-olds or 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds and where they're going. Those are the people that are the problem. Y'all are the issue because that you all don't understand or never been in a position to be able to capitalize or have value. You know what I mean? Like when you okay, you mean tell me you turning down six figures? I had somebody comment on a show the other day. Like, well, you mean somebody's stupid for turning down six figures? Like, you don't know that person's value.
Exactly.
You don't understand that person's value. These people understand their value. You know what? Like 600,000 doesn't move me. That's just what it is.
Yeah, and all money is not good money. So we don't know all the details of what was attached to that $6 million. And the other piece,
600,000,
or 600,000. Excuse me. Thanks for the correction. I don't know if you've seen this anywhere. If you have, Jarvis, hey, I stand corrected. But the piece that I was thinking about as well, because we had talked about the possibilities of setting up a version of a union, if you will, so that these players can begin to get their rights respected and protected the way you would in a professional space. I think the other piece is this. I know that the NCAA theoretically has these things in mind. You know how each professional team on a league level, and then with individual teams, they have basically a player personnel department. And that department has like multiple entities. So one may be about helping you with your finances. The other may be if you want to continue your education. The other may be to help you from a mental health and awareness perspective or what have you. But it's essentially player wellness, holistic player wellness. So if all these individuals really have a concern about the players and what this is going to mean to them and for them, are tools being put in place to have something similar like that for each respective team, even if you just start small, even if you start maybe at the D1 level, but maybe you take a particular conference and say, okay, for year one, we're going to install this kind of player development arm. And we're going to make sure that we help these guys out financially with their mental health and wellness as well, and with their educational pursuits. I don't think it exists, at least not anywhere more than theoretically, because like I said, the NCAA had some semblance of it, but it was never anything that was really instituted or executed properly.
Yeah, and that's what you don't hear from the side who has issues with it, right? The coaches, maybe even the ADs, they want regulation. You got the Coaches Association going to Congress trying to figure out something, or hey, please help us with this, right? So if you're asking for help, you need to come up with ideas like yours, like such, so you can have those situations in place where maybe it's a NIL specialist, like maybe you have an NIL like athletic department should maybe hire those. You know what I'm saying? like that would make sense to me. Like
Right.
there's a maybe 3 or 4 people that can handle or at least broker, at least be the middleman, so
Yeah.
the players won't be too focused on that, and not be more concerned with working on their education. We're gonna say getting working on their education
Yeah.
and potentially getting those NIL deals. So and that's the thing that I think the main thing that is, if you have so many issues with it, you need to come up with a plan. Like
You
come
do.
up with a plan on how you're going to attack that thing, because
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly believe that this whole NIL situation will correct itself, because
Mhm.
it's going to all
Yes.
boil down to people making the right decisions for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you have a problem with that decision, shame on you. Kick
Hmm.
rocks, move on,
Yeah.
because this is what it is. This is the world we live in, the NIL world, and coaches are going to have to deal with it. Players are
Hmm.
going to have to deal with it, and fans of those particular college football teams are going to have to deal with it as well.
Yeah, and you could do just like the professional leagues do. You could have your version of a rookie symposium, a 3-day event bringing in all of these specialists who are doing group sessions and one-on-one sessions. And in the NFL, for example, NBA, I think so as well. You will get fined if you
Yes,
don't
sir.
attend rookie symposium, but it's really for your own good. Do something similar. Have an incentive or, unfortunately, a penalty for something like a rookie symposium for these college athletes. Make it standardized. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, just
No.
modify the wheel to something that actually will work for those guys. So, and speaking of not reinventing or doing the same thing, the same thing, it seems like we got to talk about this and for the culture until folks get it that certain people don't always look the same, and certain other people need to understand that if you do what you do, there will be consequences and repercussions for your actions. You want to know what we're talking about? Come back and check us out on For the Culture on ATL Day Ones on the other side.